Just before we start this episode, just got back from the op shop. Only went there to buy a stuffed toy. What do we got? The Rainbow Magic Party Fairies Treasury. Goodness, $1. We've got the sword in the grotto. Vampire Brat. And I don't know if this will camera will pick this up. Molly Moon's Incredible Book of Hypnotism. So I'm assuming, if I'm recording, yes I am, I have dissociative identity disorder, and there's a little girl just starting to talk to me and trying to figure out her age. If she wants a book like this, she's got to be at least CJ's age, so I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Anyway, on to the episode. By the way, the church you're about to go into considers multiple personalities as demons. Fun stuff. I had such a wonderful life. On with the video.
And the first thing we need to do is we need to look at who actually produced the trading card game that has captured the minds and the imaginations of our children. Now, it doesn't make any difference what I say. It's what their own material says, because their own material will give them away. Okay? So I'm going to read to you, here's the direct quote from the web pages of the producer of this game. Listen to this. The Pokemon trading card game is a new collectible card game that is made and distributed by Wizards of the Coast. What is a wizard? Male practitioner of black magic.
So the CEO of this company, Wizards of the Coast, is a practitioner of black magic. So that's why they say it doesn't feel like a job, because they're actually using magic. Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, Wizards Play Network, Avalon Hill, Duel Masters. Cool. Might look into this after this. Carry on, Steve. I want to hear your words of wisdom.
Wizards of the Coast, the same company that made the best-selling game Magic the Gathering.
Oh, God!
Magic the Gathering is a heavily occult-laced trading card game which has been very popular in the 90s.
He's playing Magic the Gathering linked to believing in the occult. There was a public backlash against the manufacturers out of concern the game might be promoting or at the least making light of the occult. Oh, we're getting into some serious struggles here. I mean, I started off with my black magic woman. I got a black magic woman. I started off simply reading Harry Potter. Then I progressed up to the Wizard's Handbook, a field guide to magic. Then from there I went on to Dungeons and Dragons. Got my old CDs out of the drawer. Baldur's Gate 2. Dungeon Keeper. And Dungeon Keeper, the Deeper Dungeons Mission Disc. I should ISO these before they scratch too much. Give it a bash later on. Where were we? I'm sorry, Steve. You were telling us some crap.
And I should also tell you that Wizards of the Coast also owns a subsidiary company named TSR, and TSR is the company that puts out all Dungeons and Dragons material.
Wow. I'm not even going to touch that with a 10-foot barge pole. There's another YouTube channel that just makes a mockery of all this whole anti-D&D stuff. So I'm not even going to go there.
Are you ready to RPG?
Yeah! One goal, and one goal only. To stay in the game.
So let's look at Magic the Gathering, because this is the same company that puts out Pokemon.
What? What? Close all the excess windows. These guys are Nintendo? Let's just do a quick Google search Pokemon. So it's owned by, created by Satoshi Tajiro, Ken Sugimori, Sugimori. Owned by Nintendo, Creatures, Game Freak, and the Pokemon Company. So the Pokemon Company is the Wizards of the West Coast. Okay, I'm with you, Steve. So William Wynne Westcott is Brookfrost Westcott. Cambridge University is Oxford University. And the Wizards of the West Coast is Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, founded in 1998. It's the Pokemon Center Company. Okay. It was established through a joint investment of 3 businesses holding the copyright trademark: Nintendo, Game Freak, and Creatures. Creatures, what's that? Japanese video game developer. Okay. Alright, so in Stephen Dollins' fantasy world, Nintendo, Creatures, Game Freak, and Wizards of the West Coast are the same company. With you so far, Steve?
So let's see where they're coming from. Now, from seeing the symbols, your actual discernment should now begin to be sharpened. How many see a circle?
I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 circles. Where are you going with this?
How many see a pentagram?
Nope.
Yeah. If you look, there it is.
Ah!
See that?
So like Harry Potter's diamonds are inverted stars, these marble coloured things are pentagrams. Okay, gotcha?
Magic the Gathering. This is a role-playing game.
Oh God. No. I've been playing, ever since Diablo came out, these things will be sitting in the drawer. Yeah. I played Diablo 8 hours a day back in the day. Yeah.
Now,
See, I started off with Pokemon, then I made it into meth, and then I made it to Diablo, and then my life was over.
parents, in case you don't know what that is, that means that your child actually becomes a character in the game.
The fuck?
Now, parents,
Hey?
this is a role-playing game.
Correct.
Now, parents, in case you don't know what that is, that means that your child actually becomes a character in the game.
So, in real life, they become the dungeon master or the dungeon keeper. Or, I can't think of his name, the guy you play as in Diablo. Yeah. You could be...
Actually becomes a part of the game. And that's what makes it exciting, is there's not many games out there that they can actually become a part of.
There are none. So that's like saying if you play Monopoly, you become the shoe. Hey. If you play Monopoly and you get to Bond Street, that means you really own a real piece of property in the real world. This guy cannot distinguish between fantasy and reality. He's so fun to watch.
They can play it, but they don't actually become a part of it. In this particular game, they actually do become a character in the game.
So you play as a thief. I'm going by Skyrim rules here. A thief, a wizard, magician, sorceress. God, the beef guy that carries a big sword around, barbarian or whatever. You become that in real life? Is that what you're saying?
And remember, it said that it's an occult game.
Occult just means hidden, but it might be a marketing ploy, or it might be just done to piss the Christians off.
One of the dangers of this thing is, being a role-playing game, is that it's played with the mind.
Just like you're playing with everybody's mind by telling so many lies, it's making my brain hurt.
How many know that the mind is a very fragile thing?
I know, I've survived 2 of your episodes.
And what happens is, in these role-playing games...
Dragon! Alright. My dragon kicks ass over that dragon. Oh no, not too cheap. Guess what I forgot to do today? I forgot to buy the batteries. So... Oh, there's something in the mouth. Oh, sorry. So I take it his mouth opens and shuts. He'll be the star of tomorrow's movie. Whatever movie I'm making. Oh, sorry, Steve. Carry on. I got distracted. That dragon reminds me of the ones that they fly on in Avatar. Even though they're not dragons, but I love the orange one in Avatar. So I just love orange.
Games. I'm going to use the example of Dungeons and Dragons.
It's probably red, but I love orange.
Because TSR is the one that puts out all their material. The danger of Dungeons and Dragons, or any kind of role-playing game like this, is that it's played with the mind, and when played with the mind begins to lose that fine line with what's real and what's fantasy.
You're the only person that I know of that does that, Steve.
And the more you get into the fantasy world, the more it seems real.
So you've told yourself time and time again that you used to be a high priest of the Church of Satan, and you used to disapparate and pray to me too. You've told yourself that so many times you believe your own lies now. So this is going into the realm of psychiatry. Right.
And all of a sudden now you don't know what's real and what's not.
So a child watching Superman, Batman, Iron Man literally becomes Iron Man, and I can't think of a funny joke. They hang this suit up at night. What? Do they deliver pizza?
In Dungeons and Dragons, this is a game played by 3 or 4 people.
Oh, it's better with about 6 or 7, because even numbers I got ganged up on. I burst into tears when I lost a game once. Oh, where's my life going to?
And what you do is you have one particular person that's the dungeon master, and he sets all the rules up for this thing.
He actually knows something about it? Good God.
And then in your mind, you actually fight battles. You go through mazes, you go through dungeons, and you actually fight wars with evil wizards.
So are these evil wizards real, or are they in a game? It's hard to follow you, Steve.
Fight wars with evil wizards, dragons, demons, powerful satanic beings.
Oh God! Oh God! I can show off my books! I can show off my books! Yeah, this is a true story. I know Steve never tells true stories. But I was encouraged by my church back in the day to get rid. I had the whole series. The Warlock of Firetop Mountain, Citadel of Chaos, Forest of Doom, my favourite one. So I let them burn my entire collection of these Ian Livingston and Steve Jackson books. So now now that I'm out of the cult, I'm actually buying as much of the stuff that the church burned back again. Only problem is, because these are now very old, they're very expensive to rebuy, so that collection's going to take a while. But yeah, I loved drawing maps. My God, I just remembered that. Thanks, Steve. Something positive comes out of his garbage crap lecture. Not lecture, whatever.
It's all in the mind. And I mean, if you've got a vivid imagination, you can have one heck of a game.
You do have one heck of a game. You're scamming these people out of money to come and see you speak about something you know nothing about. That is one hell of a game, Steve.
And what happens is that you can play this game for 10 to 12 years.
I think you'd fall asleep after 24 hours. I mean, what's the world record of somebody staying awake? Oh shit! Sorry, it's just he walked into that one.
Because the object is, as long as your character is alive, you're in the game.
In some sort of weird way, he's kind of right, because it was 10 years between games, The Forest of Doom. So in his mind, I was stuck in the book. Is that what he's saying? I was stuck in the book. All the years that the book was gone in the fire. Don't. Your brain will explode.
Once your character dies or gets killed in that particular game, you're out.
The only person on the planet that's ever happened to was a fictional character. Jack T. Chick wrote a chick tract. I find that word so hard to say. A chick tract about a girl killing herself because she died in a D&D game. And these cool guys bought the rights from Jack T. Chick and turned it into a spoof movie about all the satanic panic stuff about Pokemon, D&D, He-Man, Masters of the Universe, My Little Pony, Smurfs, and just took the piss out of this whole created fantasy world within the Christian religion. And the only person that died is one of the actors in that movie. Died on screen. Nothing in the real world happened the way you think it happened. So somebody lost a D&D game, put a barrel in my finger, pull the finger, I've forgotten that Eric Holmberg, but it doesn't matter anymore.
So you can imagine that if a person loses...
You can imagine. Nobody else can. You are the master of imagination.
So you can imagine that if a person loses touch with reality and now...
Oh gosh! This... Steve. You lost reality when you first got up on stage, whenever you started up against My Little Pony and He-Man, Master of the Universe. I still haven't to this day heard anything from you about the Transformers, so we're not quite sure what they are. But you live in your own little world, Steve. It's your psychosis.
Now they've actually become that character.
Yeah, you've become the character of the ex-satanic priest.
Guess what? Anything that happens to that character now happens to them.
Only in a Jack T. Chick tract.
And there's overwhelming evidence, psychiatrists and psychologists both tell us, there's overwhelming evidence showing that a lot of teenage suicides that are caused by Dungeons and Dragons are caused because the player has finally lost touch with reality.
Only in a Jack T. Chick tract. Hey, Steve, you're up on stage scamming these people out of money. Why don't you provide evidence written by a psychologist, psychiatrist about somebody committing suicide because they lost a D&D game? Do you know why he doesn't? Because he doesn't have any evidence. It's all made up. It's all make-believe. Take another meme off the box.
And what's happened to them now, they actually feel a psychic bond with that character.
So I feel a psychic bond with... But you play as yourself in Citadel of Chaos. You play as yourself in these games. So I create a psychic bond to the dude in my favourite game of all time, the first Diablo game. And what?
And so the character gets killed off and no longer in the game.
So every time I die in Diablo, I commit suicide. Okay. Alright, alright. What the...
You have no purpose, because all your purpose was for the last 10 to 12 years was playing Dungeons and Dragons. So your character gets knocked off, guess what? So do you.
No, I'm trying to make sense of something he's saying. No, just don't even. Don't even.
So let's go back to Magic the Gathering. Here's one of the cards. Yeah, isn't he cute?
Carbol. Let's do some fact checking against Steve Dollins, the master of Magic the Gathering. Carbol the Ghoul. $25. Alright. You wait and see what the prices are of these. Oh! Okay, so you can get cheap ones. Okay, it's alright. Arabian Nights. At the end of each turn, put a 1/1/1 counter on the Cabal Ghoul for each other creature that died during the turn and was not regenerated. Alright? No worries. What are you going to say about this card? $25 card.
This is Cabal Ghoul.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you notice that there's counters up here. In other words, this stands for 2 points.
Okay, gotcha. There's a 2 there, there's a skull. Alright, with you.
And it says Cabal Ghoul.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in case you don't know what a ghoul is, it's a dead, rotting, decaying thing that's been in the ground.
So when you go to the supermarket to get your groceries, Steve, you walk past dead, rotting corpses. Okay, alright, with you. Yeah.
And magically summoned back to life. So you have a walking dead thing.
So when you were a high priest of the Church of Satan, you summoned dead things. With you.
And that's what a ghoul is.
Uh-huh.
And in this particular thing, it says, at the end of each turn, put a 1/1 counter on Cabal Ghoul for each other creature that...
I'm presuming, I've never played the game. I'm just presuming it's the same as this. Skill, attack strength, luck, stamina, one of those. So, and there's escaping, well that's luck. Alright, okay, similar to that, is it?
died during the turn and was not regenerated. In other words, you have cards that'll actually keep your character alive for a certain amount of time.
So are you meaning that keeps them alive in real world? I'm not with you.
Here's another interesting card, because it's called the All Hallows Eve card.
All Hallows Eve. Don't become addicted and start buying them. Message to self. Eve, Magic the Gathering. Alright. That was the one that was about $200. Not that I'm going to buy these things, but I stumbled across this site, probably Amazon, where they were buying the originals, selling the originals. I can't see that. 2 with 2 skulls, put 2 counters. It's probably clearer on this.
Again, this is all in Magic. Magic the Gathering. By the way,
I think it's because it's got the word magic in it, which is why he's, yeah, of course.
there was a news clip that I read about 2 weeks ago that
I do not believe this either happened. Disclaimer.
spoke of a young boy in Maine. I don't remember what the town was, but it was in Maine. And he came home one day and asked his mother about Magic the Gathering, and said that the teacher had decided to use Magic the Gathering, this card game, as a new and exciting way to teach mathematics. And
Well, if it did happen, that's a cool idea. That'd be awesome. I learned to count by playing bridge.
in school, in their class. And they even formed what was called a magic club, and that all the kids were part of this magic club. Well, the mother said, well, you're not going to become a part of that. You're not going to be in that. But one of the kids had given him one of the cards, and that card he showed to his mother, and that card was called Necromancer.
Okay, so 3 star, 2 skulls. I know nothing about the game. When Necromancer's Covenant comes into play, remove all creature cards in target player's graveyard from the game, then put a 2/2 black zombie creature token into play for each card. Remove this way zombies you control have life link. Girl, if I was into this game, I'd enjoy it. Wow, cool.
And on that card, it showed spiritual beings actually being risen up out of the ground, out of their grave.
Is it?
And then he asked his mother,
out of the grave.
what does summon mean? And she said, why do you ask that? And she said, he told her, he said, because all the kids on recess go outside on the school grounds, pick up huge sticks, wave them in the air, and say, spirits, enter me. True.
Yeah, that's not true.
This is All Hallows Eve. Again, 2 points symbolized by 2 skulls. Here's your demonic black cat. I guess it's a black cat. I've never seen anything look like that.
Oh, a star.
There's your demon in the middle, jack-o'-lantern, full moon, and it says this card is called sorcery. Sorcery comes from the Greek word pharmakeia. It's where we get the word pharmaceutical. In occultism, it's witchcraft through drugs. Sorcery. And it says put 2 counters on this card, remove a counter during your upkeep, and when you remove the last counter from All Hallows Eve, all players take all creatures from their graveyards and put them directly into play. Treat these creatures as though they were just summoned. You choose what order they come into play. Remember that, again, this is a role-playing game.
So that's how he made up the summon story myth, because he saw the word summon on a card. Right, I wonder where he got that story from.
This is called The Magician. I wonder why.
What the hell? $58 for one. What? Oh my god. I'm not gonna get into it. I am never. $87 for one card. Oh my gosh, I wish I had a time machine. I'd go back to get the whole collection. Think of the money I'd have now. Time travel only exists in Gal Rippling's world. Pity.
Here you see the man kneeling, and look, he's forming with his hands the triangle.
Oh.
Right there. He's kneeling in front of a flame. There are the crescent moons behind him. Over here can only be demons. Hellfire all around
What's the
here.
card? What's the card?
It's called The
What's
Magician.
the card?
And these are collectible cards.
Really? I thought they were all for $1 for the whole series. The hell, $300 for one card? My God. You gotta be kidding me. Wow, okay. Was never into it. Am I?
And these are cards that one day your child may come home with.
If they have $300 in their pocket. Okay. Back in the day when these were originally out, they would be not $300 for one. Okay, it was just a joke. Sorry.
Or may know of a student that has given him some of these cards. Now you will know what they are.
Who else used to collect those cards where you turn it around and it makes a giant picture? My brother handed me his King Kong card collection, and I did the Star Wars one. It was Luke and Leia, the old movie poster. But Magic the Gathering, I never got into the satanic side of trading cards.
So let's go back to Pokemon.
Oh,
Because
good.
now we've already established that the same company that
I've had enough fun with the Magic the Gathering. I don't think I'm ready for Pokemon. Might have to make that a different episode.
because now we've already established that the same company that puts out that game and puts out Dungeons and Dragons puts out cute little Pokemon.
Well, that's an out-and-out lie. I'm going to end it there. So, let's go back to Wizards of the Coast. So the CEO of Wizards of the Coast is a summoner of the dead or something. And also they don't just release these Magic Gathering Dungeons & Dragons, they also own Nintendo, the Pokemon Company, and the other two. I didn't know that, Steve. That's just really informative. So there's some sort of business scam going on between Wizards of the Coast and Nintendo there that nobody knows about. I'm going to investigate that. Alright, that's enough for one episode. It was ridiculous. I don't know much about Magic the Gathering, but he knows even littler. He knows even less. Thanks for watching. Next episode, we might actually get into Pokemon and pull Detective Pikachu out of his box, even though he's never been back in the box since I bought him. Oh, and I would have ripped this thing you stick on the mirror off. He's not going to stick on any mirror. He's my dude. I gave a Pokemon. Bye.